Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to our session. I'm super excited to be joined by Sanjna Parulekar, the VP of AI Product Marketing at Salesforce. Welcome, Sanjna.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So I'm excited to get your perspective because we've talked to a wide variety of folks at today's AI Workforce Summit. We've talked to folks from smaller companies, from the VC community. And what I really want to dive in today is your perspective on how enterprises can embrace AI workers and the AI workforce to really help have a sound strategy with their implementation. So I'd love to kind of zoom out and start at the beginning. What are you seeing as far as enterprise companies trying to adopt AI and AI workers right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the conversation right now in the industry is very centered around agents and digital workers and AI workers. And for me, just zooming out a little bit, the AI conversation has been going on for so many years, so many years. And everybody has been trying to grapple with how do we get value out of AI? And the key thing that we're seeing with enterprises is that they don't know where to start. And you might think, okay, large enterprises means using AI to solve big problems. Like I want to optimize my entire supply chain, or I want to make sure that every single, application we build is AI powered and conversational. And the reality is that every company just wants to start small. Everything from using AI to create a personalized sales email, or to help their service reps increase CSAT by delivering a more targeted service experience, or creating a chatbot, right? Chatbots are something we interact with all the time, but a chatbot that's more conversational that can really take action kind of automatically and autonomously. And so the use cases are actually quite simple. They're very similar to the use cases we've seen for years. It's just that AI workers, agents, conversational AI, these are just new tools in the toolkit to get started.
I think that's a great perspective. And we do feel like there's this rush to be reactive right now. What are you doing for AI workers? How are you employing AI workers? What's your strategy here? So as for all the enterprise folks who are listening, how can they kind of avoid having those knee-jerk reactions and building out that strategy that's really impactful and long-lasting? You kind of talked about identifying the use cases. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think use cases can feel like such a buzzword, right? Like use cases are the name of the game though. Like if you don't have a use case, you have technology in search of a problem. And we see that all too often, especially in AI, right? I said AI has been around for a really long time, but why haven't people gotten value out of it? It's because oftentimes they just want to implement a technology without knowing, how am I going to measure the success? How am I going to know that this is working? And so I think when companies are thinking about use cases, it's important to recognize sometimes the KPIs are the same, right? If you look at the service space, it's all about measuring case deflection and response time, case resolution time. And the KPIs are the same when you're implementing an AI use case for service. That's not different whether you're using a rules-based engine or an AI worker, but you got to look at those KPIs with some consistency as they relate to your use case. Otherwise, you're just implementing things to implement them. And I think, as I mentioned, these use cases can be everything from as simple as summarizing a record. I mean, our kind of most widely adopted AI product right now is Slack AI. I use it every single day. I use it to summarize channels. I use it to keep up with everything that I do at work. I use it to just keep up with my daily workflow. And it's so important to have AI that is in a use case that people are going to use every single day that they relate to.
I think that's fantastic. And in one of our earlier sessions, we were talking about learning to treat AI as a teammate and not a tool. So just something that's kind of riding alongside you in your everyday to help you be faster and scale. There's a big craze that's going on right now, and probably this sense of urgency to go and just buy all of the AI technology you can get your hands on. We've talked with a lot of folks today who feel the sense of urgency to have a strategy in place for how they're implementing AI and AI workers. Would love to get your perspective on to build or to buy. Where should people look, or how should people approach kind of investing in AI technology?
It's a great question. It is an all-you-can-eat AI buffet right now. Everything feels available, possible, purchasable, and it just feels like a really confusing space, right? Everything from the way We're seeing, VC funding to the way that companies are buying products, where they're investing. It's super overwhelming. And we get into this build versus buy concept a lot because it can be hard to understand, should I just sit back and pay for a bunch of compute power and pay for a bunch of, AI credits to use some sort of large language model and create my own use case, or do I buy a platform? And I think from the Salesforce perspective, right, we have always been a customer company. We've always been focused on connecting with customers and enabling customers to do that in new and interesting ways. And so for us, AI is about inserting that technology into those daily workflows. And try to recreate that. You try to recreate CRM, you try to recreate, a large platform. Could you do it? Sure. Should you do it? Probably not. That is a waste of time and resources when you could go faster with something that your existing employees can use, aka a low-code platform, and something that already speaks the language of your business, that already knows the workflows that are important to you, already has access to the right data, because why recreate the wheel when you can just use a platform that does all of that AI goodness for you?
I'd love to expand on that a little bit, because in one of our earlier sessions, we talked with Matt Millen. He's the founder of Reggie, and he talked about this concept of agent washing to be aware of over the next year, which is a lot of AI workers and agents that are out there that are saying they can do all of these things, but they might not have all of the data, all the infrastructure that they need to be really successful. Would love to hear your point of view. If a company, an enterprise company, is looking to make a longer term investment in an AI worker, what else should they be looking out for? We talked about integration into your data. I know trust is obviously always a P1 for Salesforce. What are some of those things they should be thinking about?
Oh, there's so many elements. And as a marketer myself, the marketing is wild around agents. I mean, it's just everywhere. And I think there's some really key things to look out for. I mean, number one, first and foremost, above everything is trust. These AI workers, we have no idea, if we're honest with ourselves, what the next 5, 10, 20 years are going to look like. I mean, heck, we couldn't have predicted the last 2 years with the best AI technology, helping us predict things in our business. We could have never predicted what LLMs would do. And so I think trust just has to be at the center of your strategy. And trust can take form in so many different ways. I think for us, trust means a few different things. It's, not sharing our customer data, making sure that people know that their data is not our product. We don't use their data for any sort of, creation of our own products. It's about keeping our customers' customer data safe. So knowing that they can use the latest and greatest, coolest, cutting edge AI technology without compromising. And it's also in some of the stuff that people don't think about as they're seeing, these exciting AI innovations. It's like testing AI solutions in a sandbox. You got to do that. You can't deploy these things in a production without testing them first. You absolutely have to do that. And then there's, of course, governance and regulatory kind of measures included there. And I think, a quick plug, from Salesforce is one of the things that I've always found really inspiring is that AI regulations continue to change. We don't know what's going to happen. And so it's important that companies are a part of that global conversation of how will we audit and regulate these AI systems. And Salesforce is very much a part of this in our kind of ethical humane use group at the company, which is really cool. And so trust is a big part. I'd say the other part is making sure that you're looking for a platform that will scale with your business. And what I mean by that is having people that you don't have to hire, but that are already at your company that can take advantage of these tools. I mean, I remember back in the day, my first job out of college, I was a Salesforce admin, and that was my day job. Yeah. My day job was actually, I was a marketing analyst, but I was at a teeny tiny startup, and being a Salesforce admin was a part of my job. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was building kind of enterprise-wide workflow automation for our entire sales team. And our sales team grew like crazy while I was there. And I was building dashboards and workflows and deal alerts, and it was small. But when I got to Salesforce, I was like, wow, I could have been a part of this like trailblazer community of people that are building out all of these amazing things for their business with real ROI with low code tools. And so what inspires me is seeing all of these customers diving into Copilot, diving into Prompt Builder, and they are building AI. They're not data scientists. They're Salesforce admins and Salesforce developers, and they are able to kind of add that feather in their cap. They are a conversational designer now. They are a prompt engineer now. And I think, whether it's Salesforce's platform or another, it's important to kind of look at the team you have and think about, how can I adapt their skill set to build on these AI platforms? Because that's the ROI right there, right? And I think the last part, and I will use the most boring term of all, is change management. I mean, I've been in AI for my entire career, and I have seen companies create the coolest stuff. And if you don't put people at the center, no one cares. I mean, I gave the example of Slack AI. I mean, it is designed with the human in mind, everything from where the buttons are to the way I use it every day. And the same is true for our Copilot. I mean, we've really thought through, how are people going to use this in their daily workflow when they log into Salesforce or when they use another application? And you've got to bring your employees along for the ride. Otherwise, you'll build this kind of beautiful thing that no one's using. And then the ROI is somewhere down the road that you can't see because no one's using what you've built. So those are the three things that really come to mind.
I think that's really insightful. And we talk about this all the time internally, is a year from now, what AI technology is shelfware and folks have invested in it, but they're not using it. They're not seeing the impact. And then what's the AI technology that's going to become a teammate and it's going to become part of their daily lives? I'd love to get your point of view for your customers that are successful with adopting kind of this new way of thinking. It's really hard to steer a big enterprise, right? If you're a small company, you can buy new software, get rid of software, you can roll it out to your team quickly. Do you have any advice for your customer champions who are bullish on AI workers and this AI technology, but they don't know how to advocate for it to their manager, to their company?
I think like anything, you have to show people what's in it for them. That's my personal opinion. And I think what I've always believed about AI is that we are not at the stage where we're just going to go and replace a human with AI. Like, if we're all honest, like that's not what's going on right now, right? We are deploying AI in situations where humans don't necessarily shine, right? What does a large language model do? It generates language, not logic, from a corpus of data, right? We're really good at creating logic. We're really good at this, talking back and forth, empathy, like understanding each other. But are we really great at digesting large amounts of information and summarizing that information? No, that'll take us some time, right? Have to read all the books and give my point of view and write it down. Not really great at, spotting anomalies in a large corpus of data either. But all of these kind of skills are things that AI is really, really, really good at. And so if you tell your employees, hey, we're going to take all of that grunt work and busy work that frankly you're not awesome at, and we're going to make you 100x more awesome at your job because we're going to automate that for you with AI. That is the best, right? There's something in it for them. There's a clear use case and there's a clear KPI because it's already tied to the work they're doing. So I think when we really focus on the here and now, what AI is good at, which is frankly the things that we're bad at, it creates more of that trust with the person on the other end because they know it's going to do something good for them.
I love that. And it's cool to think about the journey because Salesforce has been ahead of the curve. I remember when you guys brought Einstein to market and you guys have been preaching this for a while, but I feel like we're at this inflection point where AI is becoming demystified and we're realizing just how powerful it can make all of us. And we're seeing it really put into practice. Yeah. As we wrap up, would love to just ask one more question, which is, how is Salesforce thinking about bringing AI workers and agents to market? What's next for you guys?
Well, we have had some announcements lately around the agent space. We most recently kind of had our Einstein service agent out there for folks to see from a marketing perspective. Dreamforce is right around the corner. And, Salesforce, if there's an app story, there's a platform story. So wink, wink. There will be a lot to talk about at Dreamforce. But I think, when it comes down to where we're going as a company, our product strategy, it has been the same since day one when it comes to AI. It's AI for CRM and AI that is always going to be tied to the flow of work. It's where we see the most value. We're not trying to solve every problem in the world with AI. We want to solve our customer problems that they have with And so that's something you will not see us steer away from. If anything, agents are just another way that our customers will be able to achieve that. So I'm super excited for the future.
Well, awesome. Well, this was such a great discussion. And I hope that everybody who's watching, who's in the enterprise space, can walk away feeling empowered, like they can make an impact. And starting with those use cases and starting small, even if you're big, I think is such a perfect mindset. So Sanjna, thank you so much for joining us today at AI Workforce Summit. And I'm looking forward to the Dreamforce announcements, and we will see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.